Hey everybody, I'm Coy. I'm the owner of Hotspot Machine Works, and this is the first video of a YouTube series I wanted to start on getting that 8-axis lathe over there up and running. Yeah, you guys couldn't turn to look at it, so insert picture now. Alright, there it is. Back over here. Alright, so first things first, why did I buy this machine? I was looking to grow. I'm quitting my job at the end of the year, going on my own January 1st, and I want to make sure I had another piece of equipment in that would help me be able to cover more product, more projects, you know, have a wide array of products I could sell and customers I could bring in. So just looking for something new. And up to buying this machine, I was always thinking I was going to buy a 5-axis mill or maybe another vertical with a 4th on it. This one's pretty bare bones. This is a 2008 Okuma MB46 VAE. Simple 3-axis, no probe, no tool setter. It's got high pressure through spindle coolant, so that's a plus, but that's about as fancy as this one gets. So yeah, just looking for something to be able to diversify. And I was having a conversation with my stepdad one day, and he was asking if I ever thought I was going to be getting a lathe. And you know, I kind of said, well, you know, if the right one comes along, kind of been thinking about it. You could pick up 2-axis lathes pretty cheap. You know, I've been seeing a couple older Okumas on eBay for, you know, going for 10, 15, 20,000, somewhere in there. So, and then I said I do have a series of products that I've been thinking about putting out, but it's just difficult because a lot of the parts are lathe parts or mill turn parts, and I've only got a mill. So anyway, so that conversation kind of got me just casually looking at eBay and Marketplace, and I scrolled past a like a late 90s or maybe early 2000s LU15 Okuma. I think it must have been late 90s, but it was, I've worked on a few of those before, but this one was different because it had it had live tools on it. None of the other ones I saw had live tools. And it was a pretty affordable machine. It, you know, it was in the 20,000 range, I think. So, you know, that kind of changed my perspective on stuff, and it got me searching. And I found another machine in California that was a LT10 Okuma from 1998, and I thought that was pretty interesting. So it was a dual spindle, dual turret machine with live tools. Had an OSP 5020 control, I think. So maybe those are earlier, I'm not sure, but you know, floppy drive era control. So, and I learned on those machines, so I don't have any worry about those or anything. You know, it's kind of a pain to load programs, but it's not the end of the world. But yeah, so I called on that machine because I thought that might be a nice addition. The thing looked immaculate. It was out in California. I called the dealer, and I called him. He said that he had a couple machines, and one of them he thinks he has sold. And I told him which one I was calling about, and that one is still available. So we talked about it a bit. I got a quote from Gossiger to go look at it, and I was kind of thinking around about that because just the number that they threw out seemed pretty high. So I talked to my local Okuma distributor out here, Morris Midwest, and of course they tried selling me a new machine. And you know, that was definitely not an option, although they threw some amazing deals at me on some Okumas, or I think, what was the other one they sell? Is it Tekasawa or Tsugami? I can't remember. But after, you know, they thought it sounded like a solid machine. Well, then the next day, the salesman called me, the guy from Morris Midwest who I talked to, and he said, hey, I know we're not going to be selling you a new machine, but there's a used dealership that we worked through who, he's got a machine that's very similar to the one you're looking at, but it's a more modern machine. It's a 2007, so it'll have the same control configuration as your mill does, and you know, you have a USB drive and everything. So it's like, oh, okay, that's pretty awesome. So got the information on that one. That reseller actually had it listed for another reseller. So, and then I found out it was the same guy, and the machine was actually at the same plant as the other machine I was looking at, and it was the same machine that he thought he had sold. Apparently, it just didn't sell. So, it's kind of funny how this all works. When I caught a glimpse of that machine, but the price tag was too high for my interest, and I talked myself into a lower machine. And then as you keep talking yourself up, eventually you become okay with the higher price that you saw before. So, this machine was about, well, not quite double what the other one was, but it's a much nicer machine. So this one's a 2007 Okuma LT200-MY. Dual spindle, dual turret, live tools in both turrets, and Y-axis on the A turret. So very capable machine. Yeah, so I called on that one. He said it was still available. I thought about it over the weekend. Gassiger had already inspected it, so I was able to see that report, considered that, looked at it, or thought about it over the weekend, and then Monday called him and said, hey, I'll take it. So then just contacted my bank, got the financing, and then a few weeks later it was sitting on the floor over here. So, you know, I got power to it, been able to move it around a bit, kind of figured out some of the G&M codes around it. I've ran some very simple programs, like some basic pins and things like that, but this is a little over my head. Well, I don't know if that's the right term, but I don't know too much about what's going on, so there's a lot of learning that needs to happen. So I'm not too familiar with how to run a 8-axis machine. I've ran a bunch of 2-axis machines before, or even 4-axis. Very little experience with the 4-axis ones. So what needs to be done on this one? Currently, we need to level the machine. The seller, or the rigger, just set it on the floor. Didn't have power to it yet, so they took off. So now we have power to it, so now I got to pull the chip conveyor out, get it leveled. After that, got to get the hook up the coolant system. All the hoses are still laying around. There's a bunch of fittings that need to be adapted, some that I don't even know what they go to, so got to figure those out. Then we gotta flush the coolant system, so run some Qualicam, I can't remember, Eco Clean or something like that through it. Get that all set up, fill it up with coolant. Then clean in that process, clean everything up. Take out all the tool holders, clean them up, hit them with a stone, hit the turret with a stone so they all sit flat. Put them back in where I think I would want them to be, and get them all lined up. My learning VDI isn't all that great at just being thrown in and being lined up right, so again I have to put some effort into there. We'll capture that. Came with a bunch of live tools, so could have a lot of fun things going on there. Just come up with some projects. I have a few things in mind of what we're going to do with that. Currently it's got a Royal QG65 on the main, but it's got 5C pullback on the sub. So even with that combo, you're not supposed to run a pullback on your sub spindle. Be pulling that off and then probably also putting a Royal QG65 on the sub. So I'll be able to show you that. Yeah, just kind of selecting the different tools that are going to be going in there. Getting the parts catcher to work. Currently that's all kind of in a box, so trying to get that all figured out. And then figuring out programming. I don't have a post processor, so trying to modify a post processor to be able to directly post and then put it in the machine. I don't know if that's going to be doable. You know, it'd be nice if I could at least get it to the point where all I have to do is put in the P codes to synchronize the turrets. We'll see how that goes, but yeah. You know, have to figure out a lot of stuff. CamSat on Fusion, you know, not even machine related, but just how do you format it in there. So a lot of things going on for sure. So I hope this is beneficial to somebody. I know there's a lot of good deals on old machines out there that you're not going to get training on if you buy it. So I'm hoping to be able to show kind of what you could expect to go through when you buy a used machine, you know, and then maybe you don't have to be afraid of buying a complex machine that you're not really sure how to use, because you'll be able to figure it out. So yeah, thanks for watching this, and stay tuned for the next video coming out. Next one will be leveling the machine. Thank you. Alright guys, let's take a look at the machine. So Okuma Twinstar LT200-MY with the OSP 200L control. I use these quite a bit, love these controls. Yeah. So you can see here we have one spindle, two spindles, we have one turret, two turrets. Each turret's VDI 30 and they're each 12 positions. This one up here has a Y-axis, this one's only X and Z, and then this is the W-axis. So Royal QG65 Kalichuk. This is a, I don't know if I can see the brand on here, ATS Work Holding 5C pullback chuck. So I think they were using these as kind of like two different setups of a lathe, not necessarily to be ran together, but to have different operations on each side. Yeah. Up here to use them separately. So, and then that's where the parts catcher mounts, which is sitting in a box somewhere else. I'll show you that when we go around. It's got a bunch of tool holders, got a bunch of live tools. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 right there, maybe 5. And then 1, 2, 3 over here. Yeah. So, need to make a panel replacement for there, another one for there. These are for the shipping brackets, and I didn't see them laying around anywhere, so they must have forgot to pack them. Let's see. Here's the parts catcher cabinet. Take a look at what that looks like inside of there. No, nothing too fancy, but parts catcher kind of flings in and out here, and it drops it off in here. Oh, that broke, so we're gonna need to replace that. It's all really brittle. Nice. But then parts fall into here. Alright, take a walk over here. Take a glance at this control. Just a bunch of different buttons going on. I know some of these. There's chip in there. You can see panel's missing, I'll have to replace that. If you take a look in here, here we go. There's 2 lines right there that don't go anywhere. I'm not sure what they're for. My feeling is they could either be like a coolant flush or maybe like an air blast. Someone else suggested it might be like seat detection or something. So I'm not too sure about that. I think the drawbar tube sensors do that already, but we'll find out. This sort of thing we're gonna have to figure out with this. If we walk over here, these are coolant pumps. We got 3 of them. I'm not sure why there's 3. Maybe I'll bring the flashlight out again. There we go. So 1, 2, 3. This one's got 1 large outlet, 1 large outlet. So I know which. We have a few hoses here. Yeah, 3 of them. I'm not sure which one goes where, so I'll have to figure that out. This one goes to this manifold. So we have a bunch of coolant fittings over here. And this is the wiring for the motor. So those look like they're at least labeled. So we'll have to get them wired in these spots. Let's see. Alright, here's the back of the machine. That's where the air hooks up, so let's get air lines right over here. Hydraulic pump. Here's an interesting one. Right there, and right there, there's fittings that don't go to anything. And there's nothing around here that looks like it's supposed to hook to it. So I'm not too sure what's supposed to go there. I traced it down. That the manifold that this one goes to looks like it's coolant. So you know, it has to be coolant related. Right there. These appear to be check valves. So I had one friend. He thinks that it might be for a heat exchanger. Somebody else thought that it might be for a high pressure unit. We'll just look at some schematics, diagrams, and try to figure it out. Let's see. Finishing over on this side. So here you can see the sensors for the main spindle. pretty dirty in there. So, oh yeah, we have to completely just wipe the machine down too. So get that looking all nice. So that's the machine. So that's the machine. Looking forward to putting some work in on this and getting it running and running some production through it. So thanks for checking out this video. Hope you come along for the journey. Thank you.